This is a story that happened to me and my family. We were traveling out of town late at night, but heavy rain forced us to stop and look for a place to stay. That's when we found a roadside motel, and what followed was something truly terrifying. It was one of those stormy nights, rain pouring so hard you could barely see the road ahead. My family and I had a trip planned out of town. Originally, we meant to leave early the next morning, but I couldn't sleep that night. I asked my mom if we should just hit the road now, and she agreed. Driving through the night would mean less traffic, less rush. There were 4 of us: me, my mom, my husband, and my younger sister. We left just after midnight. The road was pitch dark and the rain just kept coming. After driving about 100 kilometers, the rain got even worse. Winds slammed against the car, and I told my mom I didn't think we could keep going safely. That's when we spotted a small sign on the roadside. It simply said, "Motel." It looked like a blessing in the middle of nowhere. My husband took the turn and followed the sign another 300 meters down a narrow road. There, we found an open area and what looked like a small office, completely dark and quiet. I flashed the headlights to get someone's attention. Out of nowhere, a man in a plaid shirt appeared holding an umbrella, face close to the driver's side window. He didn't say anything, just nodded and pointed deeper inside, saying that room 3 was available. We drove in. The place looked like an unfinished commercial building. Lights were on, but the whole place gave off an eerie vibe. My mom and I hesitated, but with the rain pouring harder than ever, we had no choice but to pull into room 3. Oddly enough, the man in the plaid shirt reached us very quickly, far quicker than made sense given the distance. I handed him 500 baht, our local currency, for the room. He took the money without looking at me and muttered, "Most people just bring their stuff in and vanish." That gave me chills. But again, we had no real choice. Inside, the room was run down. One wall was covered entirely by an old mirror. The bed was creaky, and the table looked like it hadn't been cleaned in years. Then my husband told my sister, "Wash your feet before getting on the bed." But she was already in the bathroom washing up. Everyone went quiet. It was like we all felt something was off, but nobody dared say it out loud. Not long after, my mom started to act strange, tossing and turning, breathing heavily. She asked me, in a weak voice, to get her a sacred pendant she kept in her bag. I found it for her. She whispered, "It's okay. Just go to sleep." Later that night, we all heard a toilet flush, but none of us had gone into the bathroom. Then came the sound of the shower turning on. Steam filled the mirror. It wasn't just water running. It sounded like someone was taking a full shower, splashing, breathing. Still, nobody moved. My mom told us to chant a prayer and send out good energy, hoping it would calm whatever was with us. I closed my eyes, and then I dreamed. In the dream, someone knocked at the door. 3 soft knocks. I opened it, and there he was, the same man in the plaid shirt. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "I'm not a good man. I'm a thief. I came to rob you." I begged him to let us go. I told him we had nothing, just our car and the money I already gave him. He said, "No money? Then I'll kill you." Then I saw him breaking into our car, stealing everything. He ran. I chased him. He made it to the main road, just as a massive truck came barreling down and hit him full speed. I woke up screaming. My mom was trying to calm me down, holding a piece of white cloth to call my spirit back. An old tradition. My sister was awake too. She looked at me and said, "I saw it too. He got hit by the truck." We were all wide awake by then. None of us slept again that night. We turned on every light and just sat there, waiting for morning. When daylight came, we drove away as fast as we could. We looked back. There were no other cars, no lights, no people. The motel sign? It wasn't a glowing roadside sign. It was just a piece of old wood with the word Motel scribbled on it in charcoal. We kept driving until we found a 24-hour souvenir shop. We stopped there to rest and regroup. That's when my mom finally spoke up. She told me that when she walked up to the room, she saw a woman with long hair standing in front of the door, back turned to her. But when she blinked, the woman was gone. My husband admitted something too. When we first walked in, he saw a woman lying face down on the bed. He thought it was my sister, but she was still in the bathroom. We were starting to believe. Whatever happened that night wasn't just strange, it was supernatural. We asked the shopkeeper about the motel. He looked surprised and told us it had been abandoned for years. Nobody stays there anymore. Not since a woman was murdered there during a rainy night. The man who killed her? He was the motel groundskeeper. He tried to flee, but was hit by a truck and died instantly. I don't know if it was all coincidence, but I know what I saw. What we all saw. And that man in the plaid shirt. He might still be there, waiting for someone to show up on another rainy night. This happened just a few years ago. My girlfriend and I had been driving since dawn, just the two of us, on a quiet, empty road. We hadn't planned to stop, but exhaustion caught up with us, so we pulled over to rest for just one night. And that was the beginning of something we can never forget. It happened a few years ago. My girlfriend and I had been on the road since morning. The plan was to drive straight through, but by the time night fell, we were worn out, mentally and physically. That kind of tired that makes your eyes sting. That makes the world feel just a little off. We hadn't booked anything, so we decided to stop at the next place we saw. Eventually, we spotted a small roadside hotel. Not one of those big chains, just a boxy 2-story building tucked behind some trees. A couple of weak yellow bulbs lit up the porch. No name, no logo, just a faded vacancy sign glowing in red. We hesitated. It looked too quiet, but we were too tired to care. Inside the reception area, a woman, maybe in her 60s, sat silently behind the counter. She didn't smile, didn't ask anything, just handed us a key and said, "Room 17. Upstairs, end of the hall." We climbed the stairs. The carpet was threadbare, and every step creaked like it hadn't been walked on in years. The hallway lights buzzed softly. When we got to the room, we stood there for a second before opening the door. Something about the number 17 gave me a strange feeling in my chest. Inside, the room smelled like wet fabric left in the dark. The bed was stiff. The curtains swayed slightly, even though the windows were closed. And across from the bed, an old mirror. Long, tall, and stained at the edges. My girlfriend said she needed to call her mom and stepped out to find better reception. I decided to take a quick shower. I locked the bathroom door behind me, turned on the water, leaned forward to rinse the shampoo from my hair. And then, I saw them. 2 feet. Small, bare, still, right behind me. I blinked hard. They were still there, right there on the tile. At first, I assumed it was her. I even laughed and said, "Trying to sneak up on me? Not gonna work." But the feet didn't move, didn't twitch. And then I realized something that turned my blood cold. I had locked the door. My hands started shaking. I turned off the water, turned around. Nothing. No one. The mirror was fogged up. The room was empty. I grabbed a towel and ran out, yelling her name. The room was silent. I swung open the door, and there she was, still standing outside, talking on the phone. I asked, "Did you just come in?" She looked at me like I was crazy. "I've been right here." I didn't explain. I just said, "Get your stuff. We're not staying." We left everything half-packed, shoved it into our bags, and were back on the road within minutes. Neither of us spoke until we reached the next town. Days later, I told the story to a friend who grew up in the area. He went quiet for a moment, then asked, "Which room was it?" I said, "Room 17. He nodded slowly. "That's the one. People say a woman died in that bathroom, alone. No one knew for days." I asked him if that was true. He just looked at me and said, "All I know is, no one who stayed in that room ever wants to stay a second night." It happened when I was in 5th grade. We were heading out of town for a holiday. I don't even remember what the occasion was, just that it was meant to be a short family trip. But my family was driving through a rural part of the country, trying to find a place to stay. By the time we reached the nearest town, it was already dark. So we agreed to find somewhere nearby, just for the night. But every hotel we checked in the area was already full. We were ready to sleep in the car, until we stumbled upon a small roadside motel. Not the kind of place you'd usually choose, but it was either that or the back seat. My parents asked if there were any standard rooms available. The woman at the front desk said no, all booked. So we ended up with one of their special rooms. It was weird. The bed was pink. The walls were red and gold, and there were mirrors everywhere, even on the ceiling. As a kid, I didn't think much of it. I was just excited to jump around and explore. There was a white bathtub in the bathroom. I climbed in and started playing. My mom scolded me and told me to be careful, not to slip. Later that night, she asked me to go shower, but warned me, "Don't use the bathtub. These places aren't always clean." I obeyed. While brushing my teeth by the edge of the tub, I glanced down into it. It looked perfectly clean to me, but I didn't argue. I used the shower stall instead. That night I slept between my parents. It was a big bed, but I still felt crowded, like there wasn't enough room. The next morning, my mom looked at me and asked, "Did you go back and use the bathtub last night?" I shook my head. She didn't say anything else, just told us to pack immediately. No breakfast, no shower, we just left. Once we were in the car, she finally explained. She said that earlier that morning, she went into the bathroom and saw a clump of long black hair sitting in the drain of the tub. It hadn't been there the night before, and it definitely wasn't mine. Then she told us something else, something that gave me chills. She said she had woken up during the night, half asleep, lying on her side, facing away from me. She turned slightly and looked toward the end of the bed, and saw a woman with long black hair sitting there, facing away. She thought it was me, sitting up in the dark, playing on my phone or something. So she said, "Come lie down, it's late." But then, she looked up at the mirror on the ceiling and saw that I was still asleep, lying next to her. When she looked back down, the woman at the foot of the bed was still there. My mom told us she didn't move after that, didn't breathe, didn't blink, just lay there silently until morning. Then my dad added something too. He said he woke up early because he needed to use the bathroom. But when he got close to the door, he heard the sound of someone already showering inside. So he waited. He thought it was my mom, but she never left the bed all night. None of us had. We were all too scared to say anything, and we all agreed. No more motels like that ever again.